Folks, this league is fun. I mean, fun. Like, fun. Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. This is MahfuzVanGogh, your Dredge guy, and today we have some craziness here on this channel. I'm certain that you never saw this before, because this is a Dredge deck in Legacy with this beautiful Commander card, Polluted Cistern. This is a new card from last week. This is really fresh. This is an enchantment, a room. So we are making room for something new. Some daddy jokes, you can watch them here. So Polluted Cistern or Dim Oubliette or both, those new enchantments from Duskmourn Commander edition. Whenever one or more cards are put into your graveyard from your library, each opponent loses one life for each card type among those cards. For example, if you just slow dredge one card, like Golgari Throw in your draw step, you dredge 6. From those 6 cards, if you have 4, 5, 6 different types, this will just force your opponent to lose life accordingly to how many types of cards do you dredge. So I built this new dredge deck considering that we want to prioritize this effect. I want to have the best Polluted Cistern, the best room dredge ever here. This is just our first attempt, of course, but I want to have more balance between creatures, enchantments, instant sorceries, lands, and even artifacts. And that's why, for the first time, I'm trying Urza Saga in a dredge deck. Urza Saga is an enchantment and it is also a land. So if you dredge or surveil this card to your graveyard, this will be already 2 damage, a shock in your opponent's face. So you have a more balanced dredge deck considering the card types. We have some sorceries, we have 8 instants, we have 12 creatures, we have 7 artifacts, we have 8 enchantments, we have many lands, of course, because Urza Saga doubles up as a land. And to make room, that joke again, to make room for all of this new strategy, I needed to cut a little bit of our creatures that are also threats. So we don't have Poxwalkers, we don't have Narcomoeba, we don't have Bridge from Below, we don't have even Cabal Therapy. This is crazy. I told you at the beginning of this intro. So instead of just trying to win the game like our older builds of Dredge, we want to make sure that our Polluted Cistern will do absurd amounts of damage. And if this plan will not work, if this cannot work because we never found our Polluted Cistern, or maybe our opponent counters it, or maybe they destroy my enchantment somehow. So we have our best enabler ever, Psychic Frog, because Psychic Frog can attack. And Psychic Frog in a Life from the Loam deck means that we can even take 3 more cards from our graveyard to discard all of them to Psychic Frog to attack for a bunch. This is like a fireball coming directly into your opponent's face. Of course, we can discard cards just to have some value, but in this deck, we want to discard cards, to dredge cards, to deal damage or to force your opponent to lose some life with or room, but also to find Urza Saga and win with constructs. So I thought for a long time before building this, and I considered cards like Brainstorm, because Brainstorm can draw you cards, and we can take Brainstorm from a single Urza Saga. I considering including Vexing Bubble in the main deck, because our deck is soft to counter spells. I considered Pithy Needle to Wastelands, but this is just our first attempt. So I'm just trying to test a little bit. Maybe this deck is amazing, maybe this deck is just a dream. We will see on this league. So we have 4 copies of Chrome Mox to be faster. Maybe we can cast a Psychic Frog on turn 1 or a Polluted Cistern on turn 1. Having access to Chrome Mox and also 2 copies of Lotus Petal will help us actually to have constructs starting on turn 2 with Urza Saga. So this is pretty much it. We win the game not with zombies, not with a combo kill like Thassasaurus, Satoru, or Ox, or angry zombies. We win dealing damage with Psychic Frog, Urza Saga constructs, or forcing our opponent to lose life, because this can even go after the One Ring opponents, because this forces each opponent to lose life. So this doesn't target. So your opponent deploys the One Ring, they have protection from everything, they will not get protection from this effect. And I think Thoughtseize, of course, to see what's going on and to protect your combo. I envision some hands like turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Polluted Cistern or Psychic Frog or Urza Saga, and then on turn 3 we'll go after we need with Brainstorm, Careful Study, and Otherworldly Gaze, and maybe win the game. Maybe this is just too crazy, but it's like to be crazy sometimes. That's the way I built some successful other builds in Dredge. When I started building Blue Dredge for the first time 2 years ago, Many other players told me I was crazy because how could I think about taking Lion's Eye Diamond from the deck, because it was considered the best card in Dredge deck. And then I won many tournaments with that deck. So maybe there's something in here. I think this card offers a new approach to Dredge. We can even play more control-ish in the future. We could have more removal spells because we don't have creatures, only Psychic Frog and Constructs. Constructs can be rebuilt. We can rebuild our Construct army with Life from the Loam many times. So yeah, this is so different. This is definitely different because we even have Gravedigger's Cage in our sideboard. And this is a meme Dredge deck because of that, because this is the first Dredge deck that will play Gravedigger's Cage from the sideboard. Because actually we don't have that many spells to cast from our graveyard, only Otherworldly Gaze. And we don't mind to have this card in play if this will hurt our opponent's deck. So if we play against Reanimator or Scaminator, or even green decks that can search for creatures with Green Sun Zenith or other cards, Gravedigger's Cage is amazing. And we will not hurt that much with this card in play. Vexing Bubble, of course, is important. And we don't have any... besides Lotus Petal, Chromox, and a single copy of LED, we don't have other spells that cost 0. We don't have Cabal Therapy, we don't have Dredge Return, so Vexing Bubble can be good against a plethora of decks from the format. Pithing Needle, mostly against Wasteland, but maybe against the One Ring or other cards. Haywire Might, if we feel that we need to exile some artifacts or even enchantments, like Leyline of the Void, because our deck suffers a lot from Leyline of the Void. Of course, we can win with Urza Saga, but this card will not work against Leyline. Luckily, our metagame, our current meta, doesn't have that many Leylines going around. And even a copy of either Spellbomb. I'm not sure if we need that many bounce spells. We already have 3 bounce spells here into the Flood Maw. We have either Spellbomb, we have Haywire Might to destroy, to exile artifacts and enchantments. So we still have 5 ways to deal with Leyline of the Void, like in the best Dredge decks in Legacy. 3 copies of Mindbreak Trap, because I think we are soft to faster combos. We have Thoughtseize, but we don't have Counter Magic, and this is slower than other Dredge builds. And 4 copies of Leyline of the Void. I think we will be really strong against other graveyard decks, because we have Leyline of the Void, 4 copies. We have many ways to find our Gravedigger's Cage with Urza Saga, and we even have other artifacts that can be good against other graveyard decks or Froginator decks and many others. And that's it. Maybe this deck could be even better with some additions, but you see this is a pretty clean starting list. We have 4 copies of Psychic Frog, 4 copies of our Room, 4 copies of Thoughtseize, 4 copies of each Dredge effect, 4 copies of each Enabler, 4 Chromox, 4 Urza Saga. I couldn't make room for 4 copies of Lotus Petal, but maybe in the future. And we have 13 lands. Unfortunately, no basic lands here, because I want to have access to 3 colors of mana every time, and we have 4 copies of Urza Saga and also Chromox. Maybe Chromox can help us, because we can put Psychic Frog behind the Chromox, and we already have black and blue mana. So maybe we could squeeze here 1 or 2 basic lands, I'm not sure. But this is a good starting point for our new attempt to make room for a new Dredge deck in Legacy. Can we do it? Let's find out right now. Click the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment if you are excited to see this deck in action before seeing this deck in action, before watching it, because I want to know what you think. Is this too crazy? Maybe this is just a funny league, I don't know, or maybe we can really starting something new and important. Let's see. Let's see right now. Renting cards is the best way to play online, and you can start your journey, like me, on Mana Traders. Just use this coupon code that you can see here on this page to have an exclusive discount on your first 2 months. Now, let's go back to the games. Alright, this is a mulligan. And this is also a mulligan, no lands. We are paired against 7 AN. Let's mulligan that. Okay, let's keep it. On 5, I think this is one of the best hands that we could have. This will rely on Urza Saga and Otherworldly Gaze. It's not a Cistern game, not yet, but maybe if we can find our room, we'll start taking... I think Tropical is better, and now Otherworldly Gaze. Let's see if this resolve. Maybe I could wait a little bit to try to resolve this Otherworldly Gaze, but oh, we have our Cistern on top. A Grave Troll into our graveyard. I don't think we need Petal. And that's it. So next turn we can play... unfortunately we don't have black. Let's see what our opponent is playing. Unfortunately, I didn't fetch a Vial. Maybe it would be better fetching a Vial, since we could have a Polluted Cistern. New interactions, folks. New interactions. Now my opponent plays Flooded Strand, cracks it, for a Volcanic Island, and Darcy. We will draw our Cistern, and I will try to play it. Underground Sea. Because if this resolves, we can win the game just slow dredging in 4 or 5 turns. No, boo! My opponent has days. Okay, so in Urza Saga we trust. We don't have extra mana, and we pass the turn. My opponent draws a card, replays Volcanic Island, and a Delver of Secrets, okay? Attacks me, down to 18. Now, let's dredge here because Life from the Loam can be good in the future. So I'll play Urza Saga, and I'll cast Otherworldly Gaze immediately here. Maybe we have something good on top. Not really. Maybe Brainstorm? This is so different from every other dredge deck that I played in the past. I think I will put everything in the graveyard because this seems like a Urza Saga Life from the Loam sequence. But unfortunately we will not have blockers because we don't have Narcomoebas in this deck. So this is getting scary. If this Delver flips, we can lose quickly. Okay, my opponent has a Ponder. Oh, Wasteland. Okay, yeah, Urza Saga will not survive against a Wasteland deck. Not that easily. Now we can grab Life from the Loam and take some lands again. I'm not sure if this is our winning route, but it is what we can do at this point. So I'll play Cephalic Coliseum here. I could, of course, not play Cephalic Coliseum, but I'm playing around days. Because the way to survive here is to casting Stinkweed Imps to block our opponent's creatures. My constructs will not fly. Maybe we should play Wonder. If we have a Wonder in our graveyard, our constructs can fly and block Delver and Darcy. Maybe. I play Wonder in Modern, and so Tide Dredge in Modern. Maybe we can also do the same in Legacy. My opponent attacks us. I don't think this will be enough. If my opponent has a removal spell to Stinkweed Imp, we will probably lose. But let's try it. Urza Saga enters the battlefield, and we'll cast Stinkweed Imp. Okay, my opponent has Force of Will. We can concede here, guys. We will not win against flyers from behind. Let's think about what we have in our sideboard that can be good against Delver. Vexing Bubble, probably. Pithy Needle against Wasteland. Or maybe Psychic Frog. But we have Psychic Frog as well. Maybe we take one Petal and one Brainstorm. We could take one LED from the deck, but I want to test LED in this deck. Maybe LED is definitely not good, maybe, but I can see some situations where our Urza Saga is building our construct army, and LED will discard our cards to win the game with our Cistern or something like that. I'm not sure. Okay, this seems really good. This is what we want to see here, right? This is why we are here. We want to see a turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Cistern, turn 3 win the game. So I'll crack Flooded Strand, Underground Sea. Let's cast Thoughtseize, targeting our opponent. Okay, my opponent has a Grafdigger's Cage, but this card is useless against our deck. So I think Delver is the best card here. Consign to Memory will not affect us that much. And maybe my opponent will just play Wasteland, maybe. Or maybe they want to cast Grafdigger's Cage immediately. So Mishra's Bubble. Okay, cracking Mishra's Bubble targeting us. Now they play Underground Sea and Cage. Okay, Cage is useless against our deck. So taking people by surprise. Now we draw, Stinkweed Imp, not bad. Let's play Urza Saga here, so my opponent can, and we cast our Cistern. No days, please. No days, no Force of Will. My opponent is thinking, maybe reading the card. Oh, my opponent has Force of Will. Okay, now it's bad. We need to draw something here, because my opponent will definitely destroy my Urza Saga. Yeah, Wasteland. Now they have a Lightning Bolt and 2 unknown cards. My opponent probably feels safe because they have Cage, and now I don't have an Urza Saga anymore. So we draw another Imp. I think I will crack Scalding Tarn immediately for a Tropical Island. We want Life from the Loam here. So we cast Careful Study. Otherworldly Gaze, okay. Let's discard 2 Dredgers. We want any land actually, because then we can start... Ooh, great hits. We can put Loam into our graveyard. Do we keep Coliseum? I think we do in case my opponent has another Wasteland. But let's kick the Frog on top. And if my opponent has another Wasteland, we can wait one more turn to cast Psychic Frog. Yeah, no other lands, great. So we draw our Frog. Can Psychic Frog leads us to a win against Gravedigger's Cage? It's in play. It's in play, or Psychic Frog. And I know people in Legacy just hates Psychic Frog. Oh, my opponent has Dismember. Okay. Everyone in Legacy want to see Psychic Frog away, right? Many players want to see Psychic Frog being banned. Okay, my opponent has a Brainstorm. But I'm not sure if Psychic Frog is a ban material. I think it's just a really good card and people are afraid of it, especially in tempo decks. Okay, my opponent has Ponder. But from a Dredge player perspective, I think Psychic Frog is just a really good card, but is beatable. Okay, now we'll draw, or maybe... I'm not sure here, because maybe we need, or my opponent didn't shuffle with Ponder. So I think I will draw my Cephalic Coliseum here and just play Stinkweed Imp from my hand. And then next turn we start Loaming Urza Saga back to our hand. Because the worst thing that can happen now is we try to cast Loam, my opponent counters it, and then they have another Wasteland, and then we can never do anything else. So let's guarantee our third land, and then starting, or okay, no Wasteland. That's great news. And then next turn we can Loam. Ponder, okay. My opponent kept a Dismember in their deck against ours. And I think this is because we have Urza Saga, because Dismember is not a good card against Dredge. So let's get Life from the Loam back. Oh, we have 2 Urza Saga in our graveyard now. Let's attack first. My opponent will go down to... Oh no, my opponent has an answer. Oh, Lightning Bolt, okay. So now we know anything about our opponent's hand. They have 2 unknown cards. Let's get 3 lands back from our graveyard. Unless my opponent has Force of Negation, this will be great play. Okay, no answers. And I'll guarantee here another land before playing Urza Saga, because I want to see what's on top of our library. I would like to have thoughts is not good enough on this point. I would love to have Polluted Cistern on top, but unfortunately just a thoughts is. Somehow I think we have great chances of winning this game. Okay, my opponent has a Murktide, so and a Darcy. All right. Not sure if it was correct to play both creatures, unless my opponent has a removal spell in their hand, because now we can play 1 Stinkweed Imp. Next turn we can even play 2 if we want to. Oh no, actually no, because we have only 1 Underground Sea. We need another black mana to cast 2 black creatures in the same turn. But that's fine. That's fine. Darcy needs to attack now. If my opponent attacks with both, we'll definitely block Murktide. But yeah, you must attack. Let's block. Okay, so Darcy is out. And my opponent passes. We'll get Stinkweed Imp again. Another Loam there. And we play our second Urza Saga. And this is my first time playing with Urza Saga actually, so I'm being careful here to not forget to activate Urza Saga when I have the chance. So no F6, we cannot pass the turn without wait until our moment to activate Urza Saga at the end of the turn. Oh, my opponent has Wasteland. That's fine, we can create our first construct. And at this point, Wasteland is not a great card against us, because we still have half of our deck intact, so we can cast Life from the Loam many times. Let's take it. And now our second Urza Saga will go up. I will cast Life from the Loam, getting some lands back. I'm not sure if we still have fetchable lands in our deck. I think we still do 1 or 2. So let's take everyone. It's not bad to have extra lands, because maybe we have Psychic Frog at some point. We still have 1 Psychic Frog in our hand, in our deck. Okay. I'll crack Flooded Strand immediately, so we can take our last land from our deck, Underground Sea. And now I'll just play Stinkweed Imp. I prefer to do this instead of activating Urza Saga, because my opponent can bounce or destroy my Stinkweed Imp to attack with Murktide. So it's better to be safe here, not keeping only 1, or maybe not even only 2. I think I will prefer to just cast my third Stinkweed Imp next turn. My opponent passes. Yeah, let's take our third Stinkweed Imp before something bad can happen. My Urza Saga can be activated here, so we have our second construct. And now what? Pithing Needle for Wasteland or Vexing Bubble for counter spells? Let's Seeking Bubble, because we are not afraid of Wasteland anymore. So now my opponent cannot counter my Stinkweed Imp. They have only 4 lands. And at some point our constructs will get bigger enough to attack through Murktide. Guys, I'm feeling like I'm playing Control. This is so different from everything I did in the past. Okay, my opponent casts Brainstorm. Who is the Control Magician now? Who is the Control player? My opponent cracks Polluted Delta just to shuffle their cards after casting a Brainstorm. Okay, and Nothing else? Okay, now we could even cast Golgari Gryff Troll from our hand at this point, but I don't think we need to, because our Gryff Trolls will not be that big. I think we'll continue to taking lands and creating constructs. We have a wall of Stinkwood Imps. I don't think my opponent has a way to deal with them. So let's play another Urza Saga. It doesn't seem like my opponent has a Lightning Bolt, so I'll just activate a construct now, Urza Saga now. Let's wait one more turn. Let's see if my opponent has something. I'll do a print screen here, just to share with my friends, because this is so unusual for a Dredge deck. I have two Urza Saga in play, I have X in Bauble. This is like a Dredge Fortress. My opponent plays a Flooded Strand, so now they can cast Force of Will from their hand. And we can cast Loam again this turn. I'll take another print screen here. It feels so fresh to play with a completely different Dredge deck like this one. Okay, so we'll create another construct. And now I think we take Pithy Needle, right? We could even name Flooded Strand, but I think I'll just name Wasteland here, just to win faster. And now I think we can attack, right? Even if our constructs are not big enough to win the game immediately, I think now we'll probably have the win. If my opponent can bounce something, my only concern here is to lose if my opponent has a way to deal with all of our constructs at once. Like, oh no, my opponent just concedes. Oof. Because I know that cards, there are cards that can deal with all of our constructs at once, even with Flash, right? So we must be careful. And we won anyways. Well, I don't think we need to do any changes here. I think we are good to go. But winning on the draw will be hard. Let's see if my opponent understood that they don't need Gravedigger's Cage against our deck. Okay, no lands unfortunately. So let's mulligan. Okay, this seems reasonable. My opponent's going down to 5. This is 4 lands in Loam. Seems seems great. So let's keep it. My opponent kept 5 cards. They play Polluted Delta, Grixis, Volcanic Island, Delver. Alright. No Gravedigger's Cage this time. And we draw. Stinkwood Imp, okay. So let's play Misty. Let's crack it immediately. Actually, I'm not sure if this was correct. But since we did, let's cast Otherworldly Gaze immediately. Let's test our opponent's hand. Oh, Psychic Frog is great. How many frogs we can keep on top? Correct answer, all of them. Let's keep both Psychic Frogs. Oh, my opponent has Surgical Extraction, so no Psychic Frogs for us. Targeting our Grave Troll. That's fine, but considering what this game is looking like, maybe the correct choice would be Urza Saga or Life from the Loam. Okay, my opponent casts Brainstorm in response to Delver's trigger. So this Delver is probably flipping this turn. Hopefully my opponent will not have Wasteland. Okay, my opponent has a Ponder. Attacks us. We are down to 16. Oh, no second land. That's huge. So we draw. Life from the Loam, okay. Now what? I think I will start the Loam situation here. We are not ready for Urza Saga. Not this turn, because next turn I will cast Stinkwood Imp as a blocker. And probably 2 turns in a row, because maybe my opponent has Daze or Force of Will. So instead of playing Urza Saga and having non-flyer creatures in play, let's prioritize Stinkwood Imp. Okay, my opponent casts Ponder, shuffles, so no lands yet, and my opponent attacks me with Delver. We are down to 12, and I think I'll just Dredge here. Actually, let's draw. Oh, Thoughtseize is great. Thoughtseize is excellent. Not for this turn, but maybe in the future. It's a good card to have in your hand, just in case. Let's see if my opponent... Okay, my opponent has Daze, as expected. So far, nothing to worry about. We have lands to recast Stinkwood Imp next turn. And my opponent needs to attack me 4 times to win the game. Oh, a second Delver is scary. No second land yet for my opponent, but 2 creatures. Now we'll Dredge. Okay, you have beautiful lands there. But let's start taking our 4th land from our deck to play around Daze. A second Underground is great. I'll cast my Thoughtseize before, because I don't want to see a Force of Will. Oh, okay. Brainstorm and Meltdown, huh? Meltdown against Urza Saga's constructs. So let's take Brainstorm here, because Meltdown is not that great against us, because we have Life from the Loam, so we can recast Urza Saga many, and we can replay Urza Saga many times. I feel a little bit like a lands player at this point, a control player, a lands player. Maybe this is the way to win against Delver with this deck, because we tried to resolve our polluted room and my opponent had a counter, but Urza Saga is uncounterable. My opponent needs Wasteland, but we have Life from the Loam, and Stickwood Imp can block forever. Yeah. So now my opponent has Meltdown and Grafdigger's Cage in their hand. Oh, they are attacking. Okay. We will gladly block Delver, the big one. Now my opponent has a 1/1 and plays Grafdigger's Cage. Okay. Now my opponent has only Meltdown, so anything will be good. Okay, we have a second Stinkwood Imp in our graveyard. We cannot create a construct yet. Of course, this Delver is not flipped yet, but I think this is the moment where Pithinido is better. But maybe a Lotus Petal to do more things in the same turn. We could have Chrome Mox here, but I don't want to get rid of my Life from the Loam this turn. I want to cast Life from the Loam this turn. You see, now I will have 3 Urza Saga in my hand, and Lotus Petal was important to achieve that. Because now I can play Urza Saga, and we are finally good to create constructs. And we have a great blocker. And I'm still not sure if we'll create constructs yet. Okay, my opponent has only a Meltdown. Because we know that our opponent has Meltdown, right? So maybe it's better to just casting Stinkwood Imps. Especially because my opponent has Surgical Extraction. So this feels better. We have another one in our graveyard. Yeah, we could even draw 3, discard 3 with Cephalic Elysium here. But I think I'll just grab my last, or one of my last, yeah, let's take Hedge Maze and see. Okay, Urza Saga can go to our graveyard. I still had a hope that we could have a Polluted Cistern on top. But a Cistern's time will come, I hope. Okay, my opponent just cracked for the strength to thin the deck. This Delver isn't flipping, so my opponent has a creature or a land, and my opponent passed. Let's take our third Stinkwood Imp. Now I think we can create our Urza Saga's construct, and let's take Pithinido here. Or maybe Chrome Mox. And now I'll cast my third Stinkwood Imp. And the reason, guys, just to remember, my opponent has a Meltdown in their hand. So I just took a Chrome Mox from my deck, in my own deck, because at any moment my opponent will cast that Meltdown. So let's wait a little bit more to take our best cards from our deck. Okay, Delver is not flipping yet. Craziness. My opponent has a Mishra's Bubble, cracks it, looking on our top card, and passes the turn away. And now they pass the turn. You can even draw a card here. Yeah. Okay, we draw Life from the Loam anyways. We play a second Urza Saga, and now we can attack with our construct. I think my opponent will not block, and we can create another construct before damage. Okay, and this is the moment that maybe my opponent will finally use that Meltdown. But it's not a good card against us because we have Life from the Loam. So, yeah, my opponent has a Daze, but we have so many lands, Daze is not good. Okay, Meltdown. And now we'll probably win the game soon, right? Let's create one construct. We draw Otherworldly Gaze. Our deck is thinning. This is the time to go for the throat. Now I'll take Pithinido. So, Wasteland. Let's pass the turn. I will not play Cephalic Elysium here because I don't want to tap Cephalic Elysium dealing damage to myself. Okay, Psychic Frog is okay because my opponent can have a Lightning Bolt. And so we must stay with a healthy life total. 4 is healthy. We will create our second construct. And now we draw Thoughtseize. We will never cast this card. Let's create our last construct. We can take a Chrome Mox, and I will put Thoughtseize behind it. And now I think we can attack, right? Let's attack with our constructs. My opponent doesn't have enough cards to survive, to make the frog survive this turn. So the frog will just block. Oh, my opponent will jump block with both creatures, hoping that they can top deck a Meltdown maybe. But either way, we can just cast Life from the Loam again and grab Urza Saga again. My opponent is discarding every card. I think my opponent's just giving up. He's throwing the towel. And let's cast Loam here. 3 more Sagas. And we play another Saga. Okay, my opponent is just passing the turn. Oh, my opponent is saying here on the chat that they should cast the Stinkwood Imp and not the Troll. Yeah, exactly. So now I will create my last construct. We don't need to, right? But I'll do it because my opponent is giving up. And we attack with everyone. Okay, we won thanks to Urza Saga. If you're enjoying my content and want to support me as a content creator, the best way of doing it is on Patreon. Being there, you can read my weekly articles and also my sideboard guides to play this and other Dredge decks in other formats. I want to say thank you to all my patrons that you can see here on this page. Now, back to the games. Okay, we are on the play. Oh, we have our Cistern. We have a room. Unfortunately, only life from the Loam, but it's a principle in this league. I will not mulligan hands with lands and or Polluted Cistern. So this Polluted Delta will be Hedge Maze, and maybe we can see something good on top of our deck. My opponent plays Underground Sea and passes. So at their end step, we crack this for Maze. Oh, Otherworldly Gaze can be put into our graveyard. We can cast it from there, just to cause some damage. Oh, LED is interesting here. Maybe we can test my opponent's hand playing LED first. This way you can even play around Daze. And if my opponent casts Daze, we can just discard our hand. No problem. So let's see if Polluted Cistern resolves. Okay, it resolved. We are finally playing with a Polluted Cistern in play. Is this good enough? Oh, my opponent tries to cling to Dust or Otherworldly Gaze, but I have an LED, my friend. So let's cast Otherworldly Gaze now. And guys, this will... Okay, Urza Saga. Let's keep you and you in our graveyard, but I think I'll keep... Let's keep the second Urza Saga on top. And now Polluted Cistern will deal 3 damage. Yeah? Land, enchantment, and creature. It's a lightning bolt in your face. We have Urza Saga on top in case my opponent plays Wasteland. If they don't play Wasteland, we can even grab that Urza Saga before casting Life from the Loam if we feel it's correct. Okay, my opponent plays Scrubland. Is this Esper control? Petty Theft. Alright. Alright. In that case, I think I would just draw Urza Saga, right? This way you can play around Daze. So let's play Urza Saga and replay Polluted Cistern. And again, we are not ready to create constructs. Next turn, I will probably just grab Loam and I'll start to have more lands. Okay, Ponder. You can ponder, my friend. Look at your top 3 cards. Choose one. Okay, my opponent shuffles. We like that. This is an interesting situation for our opponent. My opponent plays another land because they may fear that we will just bury them in Urza Saga's constructs, but we have another real card there to be worried about. So Artifact, Land, and Creature, 3 more damage. Urza Saga goes up, and we cast Life from the Loam, grabbing by Urza Saga and a fetch land. And I'll play... If I play my second Saga, that means that we'll soon have more artifacts in play, and this is also good. My opponent cracks Marsh Flats, another Scrubland. Yeah, this seems like an Esper deck. Orcish Bowmasters, okay. My opponent plays Tundra. So yeah, this is definitely an Esper shell. Okay, 2 damage here. We are going down to 15. My opponent passes. Now we can dredge 6. We can start doing real damage with Polluted Cistern. My opponent is down to 8. And now we'll create some constructs. One construct really. Let's take Chrome Mox because we already used LED. And I will put this Grave Troll behind Chrome Mox. This is another way to create a second construct token this turn. And now my opponent needs to worry with our creatures and our enchantment. Okay, Brazen Borrower, but we are still ahead on this race. My opponent plays Baleful Strix and draws a card. Another land. Yeah, Orcish Bowmasters stay on defense. Brazen Borrower goes to the red zone. Does my opponent have Dress Down? Snapcaster Mage? Or what? Ponder, I believe. Yeah. My opponent cracks Flooded Strand for a basic island. And plays Ponder, casts Ponder. Okay. Now we can create our second construct. And now we will dredge 5. Okay, enchantment, instant, yeah. Creature, artifact, sorcery, 5 damage. And land, actually 6 damage. No, 5 damage. Okay, Chrome Mox, our last artifact. Guys, we have Otherworldly Gaze in our graveyard. I think we have the win without attacking here. Let's cast it. Yeah, we have the win with our room, our Cistern. Go, sis. Our Cistern wins the game. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Urza Saga and Polluted Cistern winning the game together. Because my opponent got distracted with our constructs and then our enchantment just wins. Let's do our sideboard. This seems like an Esper Vial shell. My opponent didn't have either Vial, but they probably have Vial in their deck. Gravedigger's Cage is something that we can have against Snapcaster Mage and Cling to Dust and something like that. Vexing Bubble is obviously good. My opponent can have counter spells. Maybe we take LED. LED is underperforming so far. We had an LED in a situation, in a good situation last game, but it was in our starting hand, not as a target to search with Urza Saga. Yeah, this should be fine. We don't need to sideboard that much against this deck. Only a Grafdigger's Cage instead of LED. Oh. I think we'll keep this. This is sweet. Turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Saga and Cistern, turn 3 casting Instinct Within from our hand. Maybe. Okay, let's play Misty. And let's grab an Underground Sea here. And now I will Thoughtseize you, my friend. What do you have in your hand? Surgical Extraction, we don't care about that now. I think Prismatic Ending is the most scary card here, because we want our Cistern in play. I never thought that I will say those words. We want our Cistern to win with Dredge. My opponent hasn't a Surveil land. They don't want Orcish Bowmasters. Their hand is good. They have all... Tamio is a good addition here. But I still think we are ahead this game. Oh, Psychic Frog is excellent. It's excellent in this situation. Maybe you can start with Frog and let Polluted Cistern for next turn. Because my opponent doesn't have ways to destroy Frog yet. And this is a blocker. My opponent will not attack with Tamio if they cannot remove Psychic Frog. This way we have our enabler for next turn, and my opponent will not have card advantage immediately. They cannot cast Baleful Strix yet. Oh, Petty Theft. Okay, I don't think we will discard Stink with Imp in response. My opponent has a Surgical Extraction, that can wait. My opponent attacks me with Tamio. We are down to 17. Tamio has 0 power. A Brainstorm. Brainstorm is good for the future. Let's play Flooded Strand here. I'm not sure my opponent has counterspells, but let's play around them, right? If we can. We have some... actually, you know what? I will crack Flooded Strand. For a Tropical Island, I will play Psychic Frog. Let's see if this resolves. Okay, it's in play, so let's play Grafdigger's Cage. And now my opponent maybe understands that we are a different kind of graveyard deck. It's not the usual graveyard deck that you are used to play against. Okay, my opponent will not attack. Smart. And now we'll draw. We could discard Sync with Imp here, but I don't think it's smart. Thoughtseize is good. So let's play Urza Saga. Urza Saga is in play. And now we'll see my opponent's hand again. I believe my opponent will just sacrifice that clue to draw a card. I don't think they have something here. Or maybe I'm wrong. Oh, Dress Down. Okay, I suppose. You know what? Let's discard. No, I don't think so. It's okay to not attack for a turn with Frog, right? If we discard now, my opponent maybe feels forced to use that Surgical Extraction. Let's see. I actually prefer to have my opponent using that Surgical on Stink with Imp, because now I have Brainstorm in my hand. Let's see if we have a gotcha moment. Haha, gotcha! I gotcha, my friend. Let's guess Brainstorm. Magic is wonderful. Okay, I'll take my Stink with Imp back, and I don't think I will keep dredging. I think I'll just draw more cards here. Maybe we can dredge one more. Oh, yeah, Loam is good. Yeah, we can dredge everything here because we already have the card we want to resolve this turn in our hand. Okay, let's take Force of Will. So my opponent indeed has Force of Will. So guys, everything is aligned. This was meant to be. This was meant to be. Now we have Polluted Cistern, Psychic Frog, Urza Saga, everything is in play. We also have Grafdigger's Cage in play. We have Dredges in our yard. We have everything. We can win this match in so many different ways. My opponent plays a tapped land, so we are safe for another turn. My opponent cannot play anything, only next turn. So we'll dredge 6 and we'll deal damage to my opponent. Not that much. My opponent's down to 13. Urza Saga goes up. And we are so ahead that I think we'll just attack here. My opponent will block. Okay, we'll discard Golgarglyph Troll. Tamio dies. We can have more lands here. Okay, and we can play Cephalic Elysium to draw more cards and maybe win the game immediately. We'll dredge 6. Okay, Polluted Cistern triggers. We'll dredge 5. And I'll dredge 5 again. I will not even do the math, guys. Let's see how much damage we can deal to our opponent with this Cephalic Elysium. I will not do the math. Let's see. 3 damage, okay? 4 damage, okay? And 3 more damage. We are not that lucky this time. But now my opponent needs to do something against Saga, Frog, and the Room. Oh, my opponent told me, sweet deck, GG. Thank you. Yeah, guys, this is the beauty of this deck. Because it's really hard to deal with the graveyard, your opponent's lands, your opponent's creatures. Okay, we are on the play. Ooh. Let's think here. I think this is a keep.
But let's think how we'll play this hand. Urza Saga is our only land. We have a Brainstorm. I want to play a Room on our first turn. My opponent is mulliganing. So maybe Psychic Frog is what we'll put behind crzmvx. Then we can play Room, and win on turn 3 with LED. If Urza Saga survive, of course. Yeah, let's see if my opponent is down to 6 cards. Let's see if this crzmvx resolves first. Let's put Psychic Frog there, and I'll cast my Polluted Cistern. Okay, it's in play. It resolved quickly, so I don't think my opponent plays with counterspells. Okay, I think my opponent is reading the card. They play a Snow-Covered Mountain, Lotus Petal, Vexing Bubble, okay. Vexing Bubble will not hurt us. We already have our crzmvx in play. We'll draw another crzmvx, okay. And now Vexing Bubble hurts us. But I don't want to play this crzmvx anyways. So let's play our second Polluted Cistern here. And if this is Painter with Lotus Petal, no, I don't think this is Painter. But if this is Painter, we are fine because my opponents don't have Wastelands. We know about that. With 2 Cistern, we can even win the game in a single shot with Ultrins here. So we need to draw a land, I guess. Let's see our draw. Yeah, a land. So now we tap Urza Saga for mana. Let's do this precisely. Yeah, so maybe this is finally the match, the game where LED will shine. Let's see. I grab an LED. I pay 3 mana. Yeah, it works. Because we have the mana from Urza Saga. So we have 3 mana. And we have Golgari Troll in our hand, our best Dredger. So we can even win this turn, since we have 2 Cistern in play. So damage is doubled. Let's hold priority, casting Brainstorm. We hold priority, casting Brainstorm. And now in response, we discard our hand for 3 blue mana. Okay. Dredge 6. Double damage. Dredge 6. Double damage. Dredge 5. Double damage. We have Otherworldly Gaze there. So with, let's see how much damage we can cause here first. We even have Otherworldly Gaze there to just do it again. And this is turn 3. Okay, 5 damage. Again, guys, so many triggers, I'll not do the math. Let's, oh, my opponent don't understand our new card. Okay. Okay, -1, and we still had 1 trigger we didn't need to cast Otherworldly Gaze. So we dealt 21 damage with 5 triggers. That's cool. That's cool. Let's do our sideboard. But I'm not sure about what my opponent is playing, right? I'm not sure about what to... We saw Lotus Petal and Trinisphere. So Haywire Might may be an interesting choice if my opponent has Prison Artifacts. We have some other artifacts to include, but I'm not sure if we need them. Maybe we can take 1 Thoughtseize from our deck since we are on the draw. Thoughtseize is not that great. But I'm doing my sideboard in the dark. I think my opponent plays with some kind of prison deck, but I'm not sure. So just a Haywire Might instead of a Thoughtseize. And if we have a game tree, I will know more about what my opponent is playing. Okay, this is a turn 1 Psychic Frog with Life from the Loam to find Sagas. This is not a Polluted Cistern way to win the game, but a turn 1 Psychic Frog is solid. I think I'll keep this, especially because we have mana. So if my opponent has a Trinisphere, we can probably get to our 3rd land with our Surveil land. My opponent is going down to 5 cards. Okay, they kept 5 cards. Snow-Covered Mountain and pass. Okay, Brainstorm is okay. Let's play Flooded Strand. So let's crack Flooded Strand. We'll grab an Underground Sea. Then we'll cast crzmvx. Yeah, of course, we need to put Brainstorm behind crzmvx to cast the Psychic Frog. And now we pass. My opponent plays City of Traitors. Is this Trinisphere? No, what is this? Yggdrasil. The legendary artifact. When it enters, exile all creature cards from your graveyard. Okay, my opponent has none. Tap to exile the top 3 cards of your library. Pay 4 mana and tap to put 1 creature card exiled with this card directly into the battlefield with haste. Okay, so maybe my opponent is something like a Sneak Attack through the Breach Prison deck. Something like that. But so far, this card is not that dangerous. So let's discard our Grave Troll here. Okay. So now we have beautiful lands to take with Life from the Loam. Oh, we need green mana first. So let's play Polluted Delta, let's grab our Tropical Island. And now we have more lands. And maybe the right call here is just discard everything to Psychic Frog. Since we have 2 more cards to discard here, 2 more damage. Yeah, this is my first time playing against this card. It's a beautiful art. I think I'll keep 1 land so I can replay Life from the Loam this turn. Or maybe not, let's see. Discard... Let's do the math here. Yeah, I will win in a couple of turns, right? With Psychic Frog. So let's discard everything. Because my opponent can maybe win from out of nowhere with that card. So let's be more aggressive. Psychic Frog draws. I'll take Loam back. We have 3 mana, so we can cast Loam even if my opponent has a Trinisphere. My opponent exiled 3 cards. Okay, the only creature is Seaman Spirit Guide. Nothing that scary yet. Okay, my opponent taps mana. This is sweet. 2 different decks, outsider decks from the metagame, playing against each other. Okay, my opponent plays another City of Traitors, so ooh, this is scary. So they have... is this through the bridge? Oh no, just a sneak attack. Ooh, and no other red mana yet. Luckily, my opponent will not have a scary creature to put directly into play. I think we can just draw here, right? Because I will cast Life from the Loam. Let's just draw here. A Bayou. Okay, so I will grab some lands with Life from the Loam. We will not have lethal, but we will be this close to lethal here. So let's discard Bayou, Saga, Saga. Do I discard my second Saga? I think I do, my last Saga. The last Saga discarded. Okay, let's hit our opponent for 11. Considering our chances to win this game, I think I'll just have a natural draw here. Maybe we find a brainstorm or something. So let's just have a draw. Oh, Thoughtseize, okay. So if my opponent has something scary in their hand, we will probably nil immediately. I think that's okay. We have 18 life, so Thoughtseize is probably okay here. We will go down to 16, and even if my opponent has an Emrakul... Oh, my opponent is telling me here, they are speechless. Ooh, Atraxa! Great, great. Now my opponent needs to top deck something, or hit something with Yggdrasil. Okay, nothing there. Now they need to top deck something. If they don't, we have the win. Oh, my opponent is getting a little bit salty here on chat. Guys, when playing Magic the Gathering, you don't need to be salty if you lose, right? Winning, losing is just part of the game. It's fun for everyone. Maybe they were not salty, but... okay, I'll not answer that. Okay. We won another match. Let's go to our next one. Oh, this hand is really good. It seems a little bit like our first game from last round. Let's skip it. But we are on the draw here. Oh, my opponent plays a basic swamp. Thoughtseize, okay. What will my opponent take? Probably Chrome Mox, right? Unless they are really scary about our Thoughtseize. I believe Chrome Mox is really important to make our hand work properly. If my opponent cannot take my Chrome Mox, I will probably put a Psychic Frog behind it. And then we will have black, blue, and Urza Saga in play. Okay, my opponent chose Chrome Mox wisely. Okay, we draw a Careful Study. I will play my Urza Saga. Is at least a Chrome Mox after 2 turns. And maybe we can find another land in our next turn. Oh, my opponent had anything else? Just a turn 1 Thoughtseize. Oh, another Urza Saga. Okay, so we have 2 Chrome Moxes now. Let's play it. Okay, my opponent has an Entomb. Okay, that makes sense. So, Atraxa. So, is this a mono black Reanimator or a true Froginator or Scaminator? The old Scaminator list. Atraxa is in play. Let's see my opponent's deck. Okay, they have Force of Will, so this is a blue-black Reanimator with a Psychic Frog. My opponent chose Psychic Frog, Polluted Delta, Animate Dead, and Force of Will. Can we win against an Atraxa? Atraxa has lifelink, so that's the real problem here. Okay, so Life from the Loam there. So let's make some mana here. Chrome Mox. My opponent has Force of Will, so they will counter anything that I do here, right? If I cast Thoughtseize targeting my opponent... Yeah, I think I still need to put the Psychic Frog behind Chrome Mox because we don't have blue and black. So this can solve both problems. Next turn we take green and cast Life from the Loam. But still, my opponent will probably win with that Atraxa plus Force of Will. Frog is behind Chrome Mox. Okay, let's cast Careful Study here because my opponent will probably force that. Oh, they didn't. So now we have more lands. We have Cephalic Elysium. So I'll discard the Loam and Loam. And now I'll play Cephalic Elysium. And I'll probably create my construct here, right? I'll not cast Brainstorm, there's no need. So yeah, let's create a construct. We have a 2/2 in play. Against my opponent's 7/7 Flying Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. My opponent cracks Polluted Delta for an Underground Sea. No Surveil here. Do they have another Entomb? Oh, they do. For a Valgavoth. Let's see here. 9/9 Flying Lifelink, Ward. Okay, if a card would be put into my graveyard, exile it instead. We cannot win against that card, right? We'll never win against another huge lifelink creature that exiles each card in our graveyard, because the way we could win here is with double Polluted Cistern. So let's concede. Oof. Okay. Now we have Leyline of the Void. We have Vexing Bauble, Gravedigger's Cage. Pithy Needle maybe is good. Let's check here. My opponent had Wasteland. On the log, Psychic Frog, Wasteland, yeah. So, Pithy Needle, I think that's it. Haywire Might can destroy something. Either Spellbomb maybe, but I don't think so. I'm never using either Spellbomb, so maybe this is a card that we don't need that much in our sideboard. I don't think Thoughtseize is that good. I prefer to have Leyline of the Void and then proceed to our own game plan. So let's take one Brainstorm, LED, and probably one Cistern. I'll take one Cistern from our deck this time. And let's submit. We are on the play this time. Only one land. This is so tempting, but although the gaze can find us something, but this will not protect us from our opponent's graveyard, and this is really slow. We don't even have our second land guaranteed. Double Frog is interesting, but let's mulligan this. This is also pretty slow. My opponent can easily put a Fetty on turns 2 or 3 or both. Let's see if they will mulligan 2. They are also going to 6. So I'm gonna keep this. This is pretty slow, but there's always a chance that my opponent will not have everything they need. Maybe this is just wrong, but Urza Saga on turn 1 can find a Gravedigger's Cage on turn 3. And we have a turn 1 Polluted Cistern with our Lotus Petal. So I think this can be strong, and I really want to test my deck. So this is wrong, but it can be right, if you know what I mean. Okay, we have a Polluted Cistern on turn 1. This is probably one of our strongest plays. And we also have an Urza Saga. My opponent is reading the card. Okay. We unlock the door. And now it's my opponent's turn. They play Wasteland. Okay. So no Urza Saga for us. We need to draw something good here. We have so many good draws here. Any land, any cantrip. My opponent stopped for a while. I think they... Okay, Chromox is actually good. Not the best, but it's mana. I'm not sure if I will play it immediately, and I'm not sure if I will cast Brainstorm immediately. Maybe I just cast Brainstorm to see if I guarantee something. Probably the best play here is just pass again, because if my opponent has a second Wasteland, we then cast Brainstorm. But no rush. Yeah, my opponent has only a Polluted Delta, and we already have our Life from the Loam is good here. So okay, I can cast Chromox, put Golgari Grave Troll behind it to cast Life from the Loam, and I will take just Urza Saga. And if this resolves, we have a second land. If this doesn't resolve, we at least have Life from the Loam in our graveyard, and we can try again next turn. Okay, it resolved, and now Urza Saga is back. We still need two more turns to search for our Gravedigger's Cage. My opponent has a Surveil land. So far, we only saw a Wasteland from my opponent and this Surveil land. No counter spells yet. Maybe they have Psychic Robe. Okay, now my opponent has a Wasteland. And they fire that Wasteland, and that's it. Okay. No Reanimate on Troll yet. So we will Loam, and Polluted Cistern will do some damage. Artifact, Enchantment, and Instant, 3 damage. Down to 16. And we'll cast Loam again. Let's see if my opponent wants to counter that. And now I will play Urza Saga. And we already have an Otherworldly Gaze there. Otherworldly Gaze can be 3 extra damage, can be a Lightning Bolt. Or a Shock. Okay, my opponent has Polluted Delta, so that is scary. If they have an Animate Dead, they can reanimate Troll. No, just Psychic Frog. Psychic Frog is a scary card, but not that scary at this position here. Because we will Dredge again. Artifact and land, so only 2 damage this time. Unfortunately, our Gravedigger's Cage is on graveyard now. I still... You know, guys, I think at this point, Life from the Loam is still our only land there. But I think we can do some damage with Brainstorm here. Since we have Otherworldly Gaze in our graveyard, I think we can push a little bit our damage here. Let's take Underground Sea and cast Otherworldly Gaze first. Because my opponent is pausing a lot. Okay, it just resolves, so 2 more damage. I don't think I want Psychic Frog. Even Brainstorm. We need more Dredgers to win the game with this Brainstorm. Polluted Cistern triggers again, 2 more damage. And now next turn, between Life from Below and Brainstorm, if this Brainstorm resolves, which I doubt, actually. I think my opponent has something to counter my spells. Or maybe they just have removal spells, I'm not sure. So far we didn't see Entomb or Reanimates. Okay, Brainstorm. Our Polluted Cistern is doing some work. It's putting up some work here. Another Troll, cycling. Okay, my opponent just cycles Troll to shuffle their Brainstorm. They attacks me with Psychic Frog. Discarding what? No, nothing, okay, just dealing damage. Okay, my opponent has 7 cards in their hand, but they opted to not discard a single card. So I think my opponent is okay. Cistern will do 2 more damage now. I think my opponent is on the tempo play after sideboarding. Now Urza Saga goes up, and now I think we can create a construct here. Because we have... I can take Vexing Bubble here just to protect my Brainstorm. And then I will... Oh no, I did it wrong. Oh no. I tapped both Underground Seas, I'm an idiot. Okay, let's take Vexing Bubble anyways. I'm sorry guys, I'm just a little bit tired. I'm playing and between rounds I'm doing some stuff here from my work. Maybe I'm just distracted. Let's fully concentrate now. Focus, focus, focus. Let's be mindful. Okay, we have Vexing Bubble, and next turn, if my opponent cannot deal with that Vexing Bubble, we will win the game with our Cistern. We just delayed that for a single turn. Let's believe. Oh, my opponent has Metamorphosis Fanatic. That's a miracle. That was a miracle indeed, because my opponent had a Brainstorm and a Troll cycling, right? Okay. So now my opponent will have a 4/4 lifelink and a Barrogoyf, which already had lifelink, but now has a lifelink counter. Okay, so we need to win the game this turn. My opponent is attacking me with Psychic Frog without giving flying. If my opponent... Okay, my opponent gave flying to Psychic Frog. If they didn't, I would block with my construct. Okay, we need to win the game this turn. We cannot wait because my opponent has... Let's Dredge 6. Okay, enchantment land. Okay, let's just win the game with Brainstorm. Okay, I think we got this, guys. Before my opponent can bury us with lifelink. Dredge 6, and Dredge 5. So 4 Polluted Cisterns triggers. Okay, down to 4. Oh, we won. Okay, we won. My opponent was down to 0. The game stopped a little bit. I thought for a moment that it could crash. Okay, so now we are on the draw on game 3. I don't think I do anything different, actually. Let's just submit the deck back. I would love to have a Leyline of the Void on the draw, because now that my opponent saw a little bit of our deck, maybe they prefer a faster approach with Entombs and Reanimates. My opponent is down to 6 cards. This is super tempting, but okay, let's skip it. I know, guys, maybe I will lose this game just because I kept this, but we have a turn 1 Gravedigger's Cage. What can I say? My opponent plays Polluted Delta. I know they can counter that. Let's hope for a land here. At least we can play around days. No lands. Okay. Can we be greedy here? I put Psychic Frog behind this and just cast Brainstorm or Careful Study. Better not, right? Better just resolve Gravedigger's Cage. Okay. And now we pass the turn. Gravedigger's Cage is in play. My opponent stopped a little bit. Just trying to understand what's going on. A Dredge deck with Gravedigger's Cage? What? Okay. Disruptor Flute is in the graveyard. My opponent plays a second land and passes. We like that. We definitely like that. Hopefully my opponent will not have Orcish Bowmasters, because we need to resolve Careful Study here. Careful Study is better than Brainstorm here, especially if my opponent has Orcish Bowmasters. Okay, no Orcish Bowmasters, great. So let's discard Grave Troll and Leyline of the Void. Play Cephalic Coliseum and pass the turn. Can we win this after keeping that awful hand? Okay, my opponent cycles Troll. My opponent wants lands, it seems like, because they didn't crack the Scouting Turn yet. Maybe they have a Brainstorm? Ghost Vacuum, okay. My opponent wants to exile target cards from graveyards. I think I'll take my Grave Troll back with my Brainstorm here. Let's see if this resolves. Okay, it resolves. My opponent doesn't have counterspells. So let's draw more cards here. I want more lands. Okay, Underground Sea and Urza Saga. Great. Great. Everything according to the plan, guys. Everything according to the plan. I can put Dredger and a Polluted Cistern on top. So that trigger fizzles. My opponent's... Okay, my opponent has a Wasteland. So no Cephalic Coliseum, but we have 2 more lands here. So that's not a problem. We can even choose here between Psychic Frog or Polluted Cistern. Let's play the Cistern, because this is what we want to see here, right? And we have double Cistern now. Let's see if this resolves. Yeah, it resolves. And now I have Gravedigger's Cage, Saga, 1 Polluted Cistern. Let's play a second one next turn. We have great chances to win this game. My opponent needs to do something as soon as possible. Okay, now they will target one of our Dredgers. This card is not that great against Dredge, right? Targeting 1 card each time. This is just too slow against us. Of course, it's a good card, as Psychic Frog is a good card, but not that great against us. This is good against the Blue-Black Reanimator strategies, but Dredge can fly under this card. Okay, so we'll Dredge 5 here. Cistern will do 4 damage, I believe. Yeah. Saga goes up. Let's play our second land. Maybe it's better to just have a Psychic Frog in play instead of my second Polluted Cistern. I'm not sure. On the other hand, I don't think Psychic Frog will win the game by itself, so let's just be bold trying to win the game next turn. Because we already have Otherworldly Gaze there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 triggers of Cistern. Maybe it's enough to win the game or to almost win the game. I think this is a... Oh, my opponent just concedes. Ooh! We won, guys. It's working. It's working. I can believe it. Let's go to our next match. Okay, we are on the play against... oh, I cannot do the right pronunciation here. CRZ something. Okay, this hand is tempting, but again, we are here to test hands like this. Right, guys? We have 2 cantrips. And we are on the play, so maybe we can resolve... Okay, it resolved quickly. So let's put Psychic Frog here, behind Chromox. And I'll cast Careful Study. Maybe we can... Okay, Saga is good. We discard Otherworldly Gaze and sync with him. And play Urza Saga. But this is not that great. It seems great, I know. But okay, my opponent has Wasteland. That's unfortunate. Because we need more than that. Oh no, my opponent's tapping Wasteland for either Vial. Okay. So we have a natural draw here. But this is not that great. Let's see what's going on my opponent's hand. Okay, this is a creature deck. Let's take Stoneforge Mystic. So my opponent can have Force to Plowshares. But we are not that great with our hand here. We don't have green cards to put behind Chromox. So just dredging... Oh, my opponent has another Wasteland. So lands are not that great against my opponent's strategy immediately. So let's cast Otherworldly Gaze before... Okay, Lotus Petal... Brainstorm... Okay, I shouldn't keep that hand, guys. That hand is betraying us now because my opponent had a double Wasteland. Lotus Petal is actually superior to lands at this point. So I think I'll keep both of those cards on top and let's have a slow approach here. So I will draw Brainstorm this turn and then Lotus Petal next turn. Okay, my opponent taps Vial. Guide of Souls. Okay, so this is an energy deck. This can be really weird to our deck because my opponent can gain hundreds of life with a good combination of creatures. Hopefully they have only this creature and nothing else. Now we will draw Lotus Petal. Yeah. And let's start with Brainstorm here, trying to hit other lands. We don't need Thoughtseize at this point. So we draw. Okay, land is good. Loam is great. And another... beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, so no Thoughtseizes for us. We don't need them. Let's play Lotus Petal and Misty. We crack Misty for a Tropical Island. And now, left from the Loam, getting Urza Saga and Misty Rainforest back. And luckily my opponent will not have energy for a couple of turns. So Guide of Souls will not have flying, and we can have constructs to block it. Okay, my opponent cracks Flooded Strand for a basic plains. Yeah, this is a mono-white deck, it seems like. Okay, both either Vials are going up. My opponent plays Caracas, and oh no, that's what we didn't want to see. Because now my opponent will have more creatures and more energy. Okay, I'm not sure if I should draw here instead of grabbing Loam. But my opponent is deciding that for me, so let's tap for mana here to cast Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, do we keep Careful Study? Better than other cards, right? So we have Careful Study on top. Let's cast it. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I misclicked. This bio should be other land. I just misclicked there. Okay. And this is something that I noticed when I'm recording videos. Sometimes I'm talking and thinking at the same time. Speaking in English, right? And sometimes I just get confused, and sometimes your brain goes like and you just misclick. Usually I don't have that many misclicks, but sometimes it happens when I record videos. Okay, let's pay attention. Let's pay attention. I'm probably just hungry. I didn't eat yet. I didn't have lunch today. I will eat something as soon as this league ends. Okay, so now we will, let's pay attention. We will take Loam back. And now we can do everything we want. But maybe it's just too late. Because we don't have blockers, right? Our blockers are constructs. So I'm not even sure about what we are looking for. Now we have Polluted Cistern, but I think this is just too late for that. Okay, we'll discard both Dredgers. We'll play it, right? Maybe my opponent will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. My opponent can win in 2 turns from now. We need to grab Cephalic Coliseum with Life from the Loam, but we don't have a Cephalic Coliseum in our graveyard yet. But I think we needed 2 Cephalic Coliseums to have a chance. My opponent goes up with their either Vials. Oh no, just stays on 3 and 2. Okay. And now my opponent attacks me, dealing more damage, gaining more life. Yeah, we don't have a single card that can deal 25, 26, 27 damage in the same turn. 28, my opponent has the City's Blessing. And my opponent has a Lion Sash in the main deck. Not a great card against us, but it's good. So 29 life for our opponent. We cannot win from here. Let's draw. Or maybe we can just do our thing once before conceding. Okay, life from the Loam. We'll do a shock against our opponent. Yeah, let's concede here. There's nothing we can do. Maybe we should include some sweepers in our sideboard. Black has many good sweepers, even on 3 mana, for moments like this. Now what? Against an energy deck. Pithing Needle, maybe? Against either Vial and Wasteland. Haywire Might, maybe? Against something like Lion Sash. Maybe we can take one Thoughtseize. I'm not sure if Thoughtseize is that important in this matchup, especially on the draw. I believe we need to keep our threats. Guys, it's raining a lot at this moment. I'm not sure if you're hearing now. Okay, I think I'll keep this. It's not the greatest hand, but we have a Thoughtseize on turn 1 and a Life from the Loam on turn 2, and maybe we can win with Urza Saga. It's not the strongest plan, but a Life from the Loam against a Wasteland deck, especially knowing that my opponent is mulliganing, and with a Thoughtseize on turn 1, I think that's solid. Okay, we start with our Thoughtseize. Let's see your hand. Grafdigger's Cage, as usual, but that's fine. What's this? This is the artifact that gives the Monarchy, but this is a slow card. My opponent has only 2 lands. Lion Sash and Ocelot Pride. Let's take Lion Sash because we have Loam and we need Loam to try to win this game. My opponent plays Caracas and either Vial. Okay, that's actually good because no creature on turn 1, guaranteed. Oh, we could even destroy either Vial here, but I don't think we need that. My opponent has only 1 creature in play. Okay, this Brainstorm finds us what we need, but this Polluted Cistern will see play only on the next turn. Grave Troll is not needed in this hand. I think I'll put back Grave Troll and the Surveil land, and then I can grab the Surveil land with Flooded Strand. Yeah, probably this. Or maybe I can just cast Haywire Might now. I don't want to reveal my Haywire Might, and maybe the Surveil is better to see what's on top of my library, so I can have a great way to win the game with or Cistern or Room. My opponent plays Rishadan Port and passes. So this is a Hedge Maze. Let's Surveil. Where's the Saga? I think he can go to our graveyard, right? We can grab this back with Life from the Loam. Now my opponent taps my black mana. Okay. We draw Grave Troll, but now we can put Loam in our graveyard. And starting next turn, we can dredge 3. And finally play Polluted Cistern next turn. If my opponent taps either Vial, putting the kitty cat in play. Hopefully my opponent will not have a second creature immediately. No, they have, right? They are tapping Rishadan Port. Oh, Grafdigger's Cage, okay. Oh, and Guide of Souls. No. If you play Modern, you saw this before. This is not that common in Legacy. And I personally don't think this deck is that strong. But it is quite strong against our strategy because gaining life is super important against what we are doing here. Let's see if... Oh, my opponent had Fairy Macabre. No! Oh, our hopes and dreams are... Okay, we still have chances to win this game because now we have Cephalic Coliseum. We just need a way to discard cards from our hand. So let's play our Polluted Cistern here. If we top deck something like the Saga is in play, let's play Haywire Might. If we top deck this Haywire Might, we gain 2 life on block, right? If we top deck Psychic Frog or Careful Study or Otherworldly Gaze, even Brainstorm can be good. We still can win this game. We have... Let's just be careful with this Torch. My opponent cannot play that immediately, but maybe in a couple of turns. Either Vial stays on 2, my opponent attacks. No enough energy to put counters in anything. Let's block the Ocelot Pride here, and then I can sacrifice our Might before damage resolves, forcing my opponent to destroying my opponent's either Vial. Exciting, actually. And we gain 2 life, and my opponent will not gain life this turn. Oh, they will gain life this turn because they have a second Guide of Souls. So they will have 2 more life. And now... Careful Study, okay? Maybe. Are you telling me there is a chance? So let's... My opponent still have that Torch in their hand. Guys, we have a chance to win the game in a couple of turns here. Hopefully we'll find a life from the Loam. Okay, so let's discard 2 Dredgers. We have some options here. I could create a Construct. I can cast a Loam. We don't have ways to crack Cephalic Coliseum immediately here. We need 2 more cards in our graveyard to do that. So I think I would just play Stinkweed Imp as a blocker, since one of my opponent's creatures will fly next turn. And this can kill one of my opponent's creatures. I'll play Flooded Strand here. Or maybe I should have played Cephalic Coliseum instead. I'm just afraid of Wasteland. Okay, a third Guide of Souls is really scary because now my opponent will gain so much life this turn. They have 6 energy now. They attack with only the Pride. Okay, at least we are not dying. But my opponent will go down to 32. 2 more cats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's crack this. My opponent will go up to almost 40 life. Is that correct? Yeah, 38. How can we win this? This Polluted Cistern will needs to do a major work, but it's only 1. Let's dredge 6. Okay, this will deal 3 damage. No, 5 damage because it has enchantment. Yeah, 5 damage. Guys, I'm not sure if we can win this because my opponent will gain more life next turn. Is there some artifact that costs 0 or 1 that any player can gain life when it's in play? Like gaining life is forbidden. Is there something that we could have that costs 0 or 1 against my opponent's deck? I don't think so. Let's just have this Chromox. I'll put Grave Troll there. I'll play Cephalic Coliseum. I'll crack it. But we will not have other flyer to block here. So we'll dredge 5, Cistern triggers, dredge 5 again. Okay, Psychic Frog. We needed a Psychic Frog as a huge blocker, but we don't have cards to discard to Psychic Frog. Let's hope that my opponent will do some wrong math here. We did 13 damage to my opponent this turn, or more. Maybe I lost my count here. It was a lot. Now we can have 2 Cephalic Coliseums and 1 Urza Saga back. But our deck is getting to an end here. It's hard for our strategy to win against a lifelink deck. Okay, maybe we finally found our nemesis. My opponent will attack with... If my opponent attacks with everyone, they win, right? Because they have... we are on 15. We can block... Opponent can put counters and flying counters on 2 more creatures. Oh, my opponent didn't attack with 1 Guide of Souls, so I believe we are going down to 1 life. But that's fine because we don't have ways to deal with my opponent's board. Yeah, 3, 4, 5, 10, 13, 14 damage. I'm not sure why my opponent didn't block with, didn't attack with Guide of Souls. And now they gain much more life, back to 40. Not 40, but 33. Yeah. Yeah, it's hopeless, guys. We cannot win. We will deal like 40 damage to my opponent, but this game, they will lose 40 life, but they did gain so much more than that, so it doesn't matter. We need Elesh Norn against this board. I dredged. You know what? Let me finish this in my own way. I will dredge 5, 5, and 5. Let's see if we can put our opponent with less than 20 life before losing this match. Yeah, 14 damage in a single turn. Let's concede, guys. That's unfortunate, but we did find our nemesis in a lifelink deck. That's for sure. So, guys, I'm recording this afterthought and the day after because after that league, I played 2 more leagues. I was having so much fun playing the deck that I needed to test it a little bit more. I tried something different in a couple of leagues. I tried to exchange Lion's-Eye Diamond for Brainstorm. That artifact that costs 1 and has a Brainstorm effect in it. And then I tried Creeping Chills and other weird cards instead of Psychic Frog. But at the end, I thought that this first build was the best. Maybe we can just squeeze 1 or other artifact here instead of Lion's-Eye Diamond. I'm not sure because LDD can be really good in a situation like we had on our 3rd match. It's a way to discard your hand when you already have ways to win the game on play. But usually LED is not the best card to have in this deck. And if we take LED from your deck, this can even be a budget dredge deck, right? Because we have not that many expensive cards and no reserved list cards if we exchange LED for other cards. So maybe this is a way to get even more budget than this deck already is. I had so much fun playing this deck, guys. I hope you also enjoyed this video because I don't remember having so much fun playing in Legacy in the last couple of months. This was really, really, really fun. And even if this is not the most competitive dredge deck ever, not yet at least, maybe we still need to do something better here. If you have some suggestion, let your suggestions here on the comments below, because I'm really inclined to take this deck for another spin after doing some changes here.
Maybe we don't need to include everything in the same shell. Maybe we don't need Polluted Cistern and Psychic Frog and Urza Saga in the same deck. Because, for example, if we don't have Urza Saga, we can just include our Room or Cistern in a more common blue Dredge deck shell. Instead of counter spells, we can have this as... Yeah, this could even be a sideboard card against decks like Painter or other slower decks. We could include a Polluted Cistern set to fight better against other decks from the format. I'm not sure, but I'm super excited to keep digging until we find the best configuration to use this card. I think Psychic Frog does a lot of sense with Urza Saga in Life from the Loam. This is a package that maybe works even if we don't have Polluted Cistern. So we could take this card from the deck, take Thought Seizes, include some Bridges and Cabal Therapy or some other creature, and then we could have a more balanced Dredge shell, more classic Dredge shell with Urza Saga. This is also good. But I took this opportunity to test everything at once, so we could have a crazy league here, and I hope you did enjoy this league with me. Click the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below if you're excited to see more innovations in the Dredge world. And I see you soon in our next couple of videos. I will keep digging into Modern, because we'll start with the Say Its Name package last video, and now I think we need to do more for the Modern format. They need us. Let's dig a little bit more on Modern. That's it. That's it. I hope you did enjoy this video, and I see you soon in our next video. Bye.